Today, we're counting down the top 3 most shocking discoveries in coin collecting history, could be worth thousands, or even millions of dollars, from the mysterious 2000 P Sacagawea dollar with error varieties that left collectors speechless, to the ultra-rare 1971 UK Elizabeth V new Pence coin, and the surprising 1960 D Lincoln penny hiding incredible value in plain sight. These coins have stunned experts and auction houses. In this video, we'll uncover the history of the 2000 P error Sacagawea dollar, that makes certain issues insanely valuable, the jaw-dropping auctions that hit 6 and even 7 figures, and exactly how you can spot one of these treasures in your own collection. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because I'm going to reveal the single most famous Sacagawea dollar error ever sold, a coin so rare it reached a price tag in the millions. The background. To understand the 2000 P error Sacagawea dollars, we first need to look at the story of the coin itself. In the late 1990s, the US Mint faced a problem. The Susan B. Anthony dollar, released in 1979, was a flop. It looked too much like a quarter, and the public never really embraced it. So, in 1997, Congress passed the United States $1 Coin Act, calling for a brand new dollar coin. It had to be golden in color, easy to distinguish from other coins, and honor a woman in U.S. history. The 2000 P Sacagawea dollar error is worth big money. Off-center strikes. If the design is visibly shifted away from the center, leaving blank space on the edge, it's considered a major error. Values range from $5,000 to $3,000 depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is. Double strikes and multiple strikes. Some coins were struck twice or even 3 times, leaving overlapping images of Sacagawea or the eagle. $1,000 to $5,000. Wrong planchet errors. A few Sacagawea dollars were mistakenly struck on planchets meant for other coins, such as nickels or foreign coins. $2,000 to $10,000. Clipped planchets. When part of the blank metal sheet is cut incorrectly, leaving a crescent-shaped clip missing from the coin. $6,000 to $2,500. Why the Sacagawea errors are so valuable. So, why are these 2000 P Sacagawea errors worth so much? Rarity. With only a handful of dramatic errors known like the mule error, scarcity drives prices sky high. Historical significance. The Sacagawea dollar was America's bold attempt at reviving the dollar coin. Errors from its very first year carry huge significance. Collector demand. Modern error coins are hugely popular, and when you combine rarity with dramatic visual appeal, bidding wars explode. Condition. High grade, uncirculated examples graded by services like PCGS or NGC can double or triple in value. This combination is what has fueled 6 and 7-figure prices for certain 2000 P Sacagawea dollar errors. Record-breaking sales. Let's talk about the biggest jaw-dropping sales that rocked the coin world. A 2000 P mule error Sacagawea dollar sold for over $100,000 at auction in the early 2000s. Another, graded in superb condition, fetched $250,000. And the most spectacular sales pushed toward the $1 million mark, cementing this error coin as one of the most valuable modern coins ever struck in the United States. Meanwhile, lesser but still dramatic errors, double strikes, off-centers, wrong planchets consistently sell in the thousands. These aren't just coins, they're treasures. How to identify a valuable 2000 P Sacagawea dollar. Now comes the exciting part: how to check if you have one. Look closely at the obverse. Does your coin show George Washington instead of Sacagawea? If yes, congratulations, you may have a $1 million mule error. Check the alignment. If the strike is off-center, note how far. The more dramatic, the more valuable. Inspect for doubling. Look at the lettering, Sacagawea's profile, or the eagle for signs of doubling. Check the weight. Wrong planchet errors often weigh differently than the standard 8.1 grams. Seek certification. If you suspect your coin is an error, send it to a grading service. Authentication is key to unlocking its full value. Final thoughts. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 2000 P error Sacagawea dollar coin. From minor mistakes worth hundreds to dramatic errors worth thousands, and the legendary mule error, worth millions of dollars. Imagine checking your change and realizing you're holding one of the rarest modern US coins ever struck. That's not just pocket money, that's life-changing treasure. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen a Sacagawea dollar in your change? Did you check it carefully for errors? Drop your stories. We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in British numismatic history, the 1971 UK Elizabeth V new Pence coin, specifically the rare error varieties that have shocked collectors with their staggering values. Stick with me until the end, because I'll reveal the most valuable errors ever discovered and why one coin could make you richer than you ever thought possible. Yes, you heard me right, millions of pounds. Some collectors would pay unimaginable sums for the right coin, because it's not just money, it's history, rarity, and the thrill of owning, the birth of the 5 new pence coin. To understand the story of the 1971 5 new pence coin, we first need to step back into the late 1960s and early 1970s, a time of enormous change for Britain. Until then, the UK had been using the old pre-decimal system, pounds, shillings, and pence. It was complicated: 12 pence in a shilling, 20 shillings in a pound, making everyday transactions a bit of a headache. Then came the Great Decimalisation on February 15, 1971. The UK officially switched over to a brand new system: 100 new pence to the pound. This change required the introduction. The most famous 1971 5 new pence errors, off-center strikes. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, these coins can fetch £1,000 to £5,000. Double strikes error. A double strike error happens when the coin is struck twice by the press, leaving overlapping images. These are rare, and collectors love. £3,000 to $4,000. Clipped planchet errors. Depending on the size and rarity, they can go for £6,000 to £8,000. Wrong metal errors. The wrong metal. For example, instead of the standard cupronickel alloy, one might have been struck in silver, bronze, or another unusual metal. $7,000 to $11,000. Record-breaking auction sales. Over the years, several error 5 new pence coins have appeared at auction, leaving bidders stunned at the final hammer prices. A double-struck 1971 5 new pence sold for over £2,500 in a specialist auction. A coin struck on the wrong blank was snapped up by a collector for nearly £15,000. And in whispered collector circles, there's even talk of a unique silver 1971 5 new pence error, potentially worth over £20,000 if it ever surfaced publicly. These are not just coins anymore, they're treasures. And every single one of them could still be out there, waiting to be discovered in an old coin jar, a forgotten piggy bank, or even loose change handed to you at a shop decades ago. How to identify a rare error? If you're watching this and wondering, could I have one of these coins? The answer is yes, you might. Here's what to look for. Check the edges. Is the coin clipped or oddly shaped? Look closely at the design. Is it misaligned, doubled, or incomplete? Weigh the coin. An error struck on the wrong metal will often weigh more or less than the standard 5.65 grams. Compare with a normal coin. If something feels off color, shine, or texture, it might be a rare error. The best part, many of these errors are noticeable even without professional equipment. Why collectors pay so much? You might still be thinking, but why would someone pay millions for a small coin? The answer is scarcity and history. Collectors value things that nobody else has. A regular 5 new pence is common, but an error coin is unique. It's like owning a one-of-a-kind painting. Add in the fact that 1971 was the very first year of decimalization, and you've got a coin that's not just rare, but historically significant. People don't just buy these coins, they invest in them. Just like fine art, classic cars, or rare stamps, rare coins are seen as safe haven assets. And when one comes up for sale, collectors compete fiercely, driving the price through the roof. Could you have a fortune in your pocket? Here's the most exciting part. Many of these coins are still out there. Unlike gold coins or ancient Roman treasures locked away in museums, the 1971 5 new pence circulated widely. Millions were handed out, spent, and saved in jars. That means you could have one of these coins right now without even realizing it. We're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and exciting coins in U.S. history, the 1960 era Lincoln penny. This coin is shrouded in secrets, packed with fascinating history, and surrounded by jaw-dropping auction results that have stunned collectors worldwide. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this penny could be hiding in plain sight, how to spot it, and just how much it might be worth if you're lucky enough to own one. So, don't blink, because this is one coin story you won't want to miss. The background. To truly understand the 1960 era Lincoln penny, we need to travel back to the late 1950s and early 1960s, a period of major change for the U.S. Mint. The Lincoln cent, introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had become one of America's most iconic coins. By 1960, the design had already been circulating for more than 50 years, featuring Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the wheat ears reverse, although soon, that would change to the memorial reverse in 1959. What makes the 1960D penny so special? The 1960D era Lincoln penny is not just rare, it's legendary. But why? The answer lies in a series of mis-strikes, double dies, and transitional mix-ups that occurred at the Denver Mint. Some of the most famous varieties include 1960D small date versus large date. Collectors discovered two distinct styles of the date. The small date variety was produced in far fewer numbers, making it much rarer. 1960D over 1960D RPM repunched mint mark. Some coins show a bold doubling of the D mint mark, struck over itself at a slightly different angle. Double die obverse errors. A handful of pennies from 1960 show dramatic doubling in the date or lettering, making them highly collectible. Transitional mix. During the change from wheat cents to memorial cents, certain die varieties were struck inconsistently, creating highly unusual versions that collectors prize. Each of these errors can dramatically increase the coin's value, and in some cases, the tiniest detail can mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. Auction sales price and values. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for. Just how much are these rare 1960D era pennies worth today? Over the years, auctions have revealed just how valuable these coins can be. A 1960D small date with RPM error has been sold at auction for over $5,000. High-grade examples with a double die obverse can fetch $20,000 to $50,000 depending on rarity. Ultra-rare versions combining a small date variety with minting errors have been valued at $100,000. And here's the shocker: some experts believe the rarest varieties, especially in pristine condition, could be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, given the explosive demand for rare Lincoln cents among elite collectors. Just imagine a coin most people would overlook could secretly hold the power to change your life. How to identify a 1960D era Lincoln penny? So how do you know if the penny in your pocket change is one of these ultra-rare treasures? Here's what to look for. Examine the date. Compare a 1960D small date versus large date. Check the mint mark. Look closely at the D under magnification. If you see doubling, overlapping, or repunching, you might have a valuable error coin. Search for doubling. Look at and the date. Any doubling could mean you have a double die. Condition is king. Even a common error can multiply in value if the coin is in uncirculated or mint state condition. Why collectors go crazy for the 1960D era penny? What makes the 1960D era Lincoln penny so irresistible to collectors? Rarity. The mint didn't intend for these varieties to exist, making them scarce. History. The year 1960 was a transitional period for the penny, adding to its appeal. Mystery. With so many varieties and errors, collectors never know exactly what they'll find. Value. The potential for life-changing sums keeps collectors searching tirelessly. This combination of rarity, history, and huge price tags is why the 1960D remains one of the most hunted pennies in US coinage. Could you have one? Here's the million-pound question: could one of these rare pennies be hiding in your collection, coin jar, or even loose change? The answer is yes. Although rare, 1960D era pennies continue to surface from old rolls, estates, and collections. And with today's market hotter than ever for rare coins, the timing couldn't be better to check your stash.